In the last election campaign, I'm from Southern Alberta, the heart of conservative country.
Yeah.
But when I heard in the campaign words like "old stock,"
yeah,
it stings. And I wonder, within the Conservative Party, I can't be the only person in Canada who feels this way. Where does somebody like myself fit in the Conservative Party?
Well, at the top of the heap, if the Conservatives are smart. I believe, for example, that immigration is a vital dimension of our democracy and our society and our growth and our prosperity. I raised the immigration numbers to the highest in the history of Canada when I was Prime Minister. And why? Well, first of all, because immigrants benefit Canada enormously. Mm-hmm. They're dynamic and they contribute to our economy and they contribute to the well-being of our nation. But also, immigrants have to have a place to go, and we're better than Canada. So we should be welcoming to all immigrants and make life easy for them when they get here so that they become the tremendous contributors that they are. Anybody who forgets that is not going to be Prime Minister of Canada. This country will not accept someone as its leader who doesn't articulate that kind of a view.
Well, those words have a strong meaning now. That was from a conversation back in 2016 with former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney. We were in Nova Scotia. He had such an impact here in Canada, but as we've been hearing all morning long, he was a giant on the world stage. Frank McKenna, former Premier of New Brunswick and former Canadian ambassador to the United States, he happened to also be on that trip to Nova Scotia. He was a close friend of the late Prime Minister, and he is our guest this morning. Thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you.
We're so sorry for the loss of your friend. What are you remembering about him this morning?
Well, I must say it's been a day of huge nostalgia. I just feel a deep sense of sadness. We talk probably every week, and we talked about family, we talked about religion, we talked about growing up in our small little communities. Talked about politics in Canada. We talked about politics in the world. I just remember his warmth. He had, I think, the highest emotional intelligence I've ever seen. He was very empathetic with people, and he just loved to talk about people that he knew from all over the world. And it was just a joy to be around him. He had a big love for Canada, and no matter what your political faith would be, you always had a friend with Brian Mulroney.
You served as Canadian ambassador to the United States, and something that has come up in almost every interview we've done today is that no other prime minister had a relationship with his American counterparts, like Brian Mulroney did. He would end up delivering eulogies at funerals of both former President Reagan and former President George Bush. In fact, George W. Bush released a statement this morning, and in part it says he was smart and charming and fun and kind. My family is grateful for Brian Mulroney's friendship. What was it about him that allowed him to excel in building those relationships?
Well, to start with, he realized that one of the major duties of the Prime Minister of Canada was to have a good relationship with their biggest market in the world, which is the United States. It accounts for a lot of wealth creation in Canada, so he knew that. And having said that, he tried to create a relationship that was based on mutual respect, one where you could disagree without being disagreeable. And he had a great deal of personal charm, and he used that to cultivate relationships with Reagan's, Bush's, and other Jim Baker and other U.S. leaders to the benefit of Canada. And some of the things that we achieved, acid rain, for example, ozone layer protection, in the case of free trade, I think you could say it's based on personal relationships. And a lot of good things in life are based on personal relationships and mutual respect for the other person. And he had that in spades. And he was well loved in the United States. Everywhere I would go, they sometimes wouldn't even know who our current prime minister was, but they all knew and associated Canada with Brian Mulroney.
What will be missed most by the people who knew him, friends like yourself, and what will be missing from Canadian politics now that he's gone?
Well, from Canadian politics, he was a real champion for the country. It's rather instructive that during the free trade debate that just took place with President Trump at that time, that Brian Mulroney was called in to help out and did so willingly, even though it was a different political faith in Ottawa. He was that kind of person. He cared about the country, he cared about it deeply, and he understood the country, all parts of it. And I tell you, in Atlantic, Canada, we're going to feel a sense of particular loss because there may be debates, so there always will be debates rage about who is the greatest prime minister in the history of Canada. Historians will judge that. But back home, where I come from, there's no debate at all. Brian Mulroney was our prime minister. He understood us. He delivered in spades to Atlantic Canada. And all of us who knew him will just remember that warmth and his ability to connect with you and to remember the painful moments in your life and to be there and have an arm around you and give you a hug. He was just that kind of person. I just can't say enough about his strength, the strength that he found in his family and in his community and in his country. And he was a wonderful friend to all the people who knew him. He was the first person always on the phone if you had a difficult situation in your life. I had a note in from a cabinet minister last night saying first call when they were demoted in cabinet was from him. And that's kind of the way it was.
You know, in moments like these where I can hear that it's a struggle for you as you recall your friend, he probably would have been the first person to reach out for you at a loss like this. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.